fellow travelers, welcome on in. This is the 138th level of the RPG Cave. I'm one of your hosts, the level 199 human Dark Lord, Ryan Turford, and I am joined, as always, by the level 199 elf battle alchemist, Dr. Garret Bland. How's it going, Garret?
I'm doing good, man. You see what I'm posting right there? It's the Fallout Boy.
Oh, yeah? I mean, will that be of any kind of significance on tonight's episode, perhaps?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Perhaps. I don't know. Did you predict it? Did I predict it?
I mean, we both predicted it on our 2024 predictions, but I don't know if we're going to predict it tonight. I guess we'll find out.
But anyways, yeah, I'm doing good, man. Yeah. Weather's nice. It's pretty cool today.
Yeah.
Pretty sunny.
It was 28 degrees Celsius today, Garret.
That's pretty warm.
Yeah.
See, I know my Celsius. That's pretty warm.
Yeah.
That's like shorts weather or something like that, right?
True. I've been wearing shorts since last week, but last week here in Canada, it was about 20 degrees all the time. So it was like shorts and hoodie weather for the most part with the wind. But now it's just pure shorts weather, shorts and t-shirt weather.
Got it. I do have my 3 things. I did write them down, so we can go through it.
Now, before you get into those, guys.
Sure.
Is one of those 3 things about Kingdom Hearts coming to a brand new platform?
We could do that thing first.
Okay. How excited are you, Garret, for that? The saga of Donald and Goofy is now coming to a brand new platform. Never been there before. Brand new. No way to access this before on that platform.
Yeah, yes, completely brand new. No one was able to access it on PC until now.
Yep.
Kingdom Hearts, man, what a franchise I'm so puzzled by. I've never been I think I understand the mentality of other franchises, even though I'm not into them. I understand them. Like Falcom games, I understand. You're into the JRPG weebiness. I get it. But the Kingdom Hearts just doesn't make sense to me at all. You say it's about Disney, you say it's about Disney characters and going on an adventure, then I just hear about Keyblades and being emotional and connecting to Final Fantasy. I'm like, okay, you just lost me. All right, I can't deal with this. I can't.
Because originally it wasn't supposed to be just Disney. The first 2 games are very much Final Fantasy / Disney.
That's true.
With a bunch of Final Fantasy characters. And then it just happened to be, the Disney part of the games were more popular with, Disney fans, that it turned into just being Disney and not Final Fantasy.
It made Disney people into gamers, and then they played the Disney Dream Light Valley right now. And that's how it works, yeah.
Exactly. So there you go. I mean, people are celebrating, Garret. I did not expect this many people on the internet celebrating the idea of Kingdom Hearts actually coming to Steam as this huge thing. So
I find it really fascinating how Epic really tries to do anything and everything to get into the PC market in some way. And, they're kind of the king right now with Fortnite. It's the most popular live service game ever, and it's pretty good. But man, they really try it with their store all the time.
Now, Garret, I should also mention this game was also on the Microsoft Store too, because it was part of PC. It's part of PC Game Pass, or it was, but it's still on the Microsoft Store too. So I think it was just not available on Steam, but it was available at a bunch of other places on PC.
That's the most interesting part. So, and I think Square just saw the metrics. It's dude, people are not buying this. On these other PC platforms. We got to put it on Steam. I think everyone has bowed down to the Steam platform, pretty much at this point. I think everyone understands what the Steam platform is, so that's just the way going forward.
Also, Steam Deck users, I think that plays a big part into it.
Oh, for sure.
Because I mean, it's harder to get games outside of Steam running on a Steam Deck. I think Square also saw that, and they're like, okay, it makes sense to have these games on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Or games that aren't on Steam on there.
Steam Deck, I would say, it's not a lot of users, but it does have that. It has that PC gamer zeitgeist going on. It's if you're playing PC, why don't you get a Steam Deck? It's just like your Game Boy. It's like your Nintendo Switch in a way. You play handheld, but with your PC. Yeah, no, I could see how that can be partially it as well. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts coming to Steam, a lot more money for them, so good for them.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
People are excited. The Kingdom Hearts fans have spoken. They are excited about this, Garret.
They're gonna buy it for the 5th time. Congratulations,
Well,
Kingdom
You're being
Hearts
awfully
fans.
conservative by saying 5th time. Garret. It's actually probably more than that.
Because they like re-released. Like
I think you
4 of them.
underestimate how many platforms the Kingdom Hearts games have been on at this point.
They've been on. I'm trying to think actually. PS1, PS2.
Not PS1, but PS2.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. PS2. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
And then you got the PSP.
Yeah.
Then you got the GBA.
Yeah,
I
you do.
believe.
You
Yeah,
do,
and
yeah.
and the DS.
You got the 3DS, actually. Oh, no, there was a DS.
There was a DS one too. Yeah, and a
Yeah.
3DS. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
5.
And then of course PS3,
Yeah.
PS4.
Yeah.
You got Xbox One.
You do have Xbox One, yeah.
Yeah, and then you got Epic, of course.
Yeah.
Then you got Switch Cloud.
Yeah. Oh, Switch Cloud, of course.
Yeah.
The best Kingdom Hearts platform.
I think PS5. I would
No,
say
there's
those
not
are
a.
backwards.
It's not a native PS5 version.
Yeah, sure.
We're not going to
Yeah.
count that.
I think we stopped there. Is there anything I missed?
There's also lots of mobile Kingdom Hearts games.
Oh,
as well.
sure. Okay. Cool.
And
Yeah, wow. 10
yeah.
platforms.
And then that's a lot. It's so many. It's too many platforms.
All right. Well, congratulations, Kingdom Hearts fans. You finally get it on Steam.
Yeah.
All right. So number 2. Let me talk a little game I've been playing because I'm not going to talk about it anywhere else on podcasts, but it's a non-RPG, and it's Prey. I've been playing Prey, and it's developed by Arcane Austin, released 2018, so it's been a little bit. Have you played this game, Ryan? I'm curious.
I played it a long time ago. I played it first when it came out.
Okay.
'Cause I played it we at the time had a review code for it, so. This was pre-Carpool days, by the way. But
Right.
I played it for a few hours and just was not jiving with it.
Wow.
So then I
okay.
went back about a year later when I was like, all right, I'm going to set things aside. I'm going to give this game another chance, and hopefully it hooks me. Got 3 hours and just like, nope, I just can't do it.
Wow. Okay.
Just the gameplay in particular was like the thing that really did not click with me.
Ryan, this game has its hooks in me hard. It's so good. It's such a good game. I describe it as it's kind of like BioShock.
Yeah.
Very much so. And when you're exploring an environment, looking at different things or whatever. And of course you got those mimics and those, phantom-like creatures. I understand the combat. It can be very harsh. You have to be quick. You have to be sneaky, or you have to be pretty quick at these monsters, or else they'll destroy you. But man, dude, like every time I put more time into this game, more comes out of it. Just like room to room, learning about what happened. For folks who don't know, Prey it's like a long-standing franchise. This is just Arcane Austin's take on the game.
Well, I was going to say, long-standing franchise being 2 games.
Oh, really?
One of them
Okay.
that was in the Xbox 360's launch window, and then this one. Those
Oh,
were the 2.
I thought there was more than that. Okay, sorry, I misspoke. But this one, you're this character named Alex Yu, or not Alex Yu. Sorry, that's the brother. I forgot his.
Well, I was going to
his
say,
name.
there's a brother and the sister, and you can choose which one you play as, and
Right.
they have different names.
Right. So you're a main character. You have a brother. And basically, you've been kind of a test subject with like mimic experiments and neuromods or whatever that you can inject in your brain to get abilities or whatever. But you're lost in the space station. Basically, you've been in an experiment in this space station. You have to figure out what happened in the space station that's been overtaken by this other species called like mimics and phantoms and so on and so forth. It's just, I'm not going to go through the whole, rambling of it.
Of course.
Because there's a lot of spoiler territory for sure. But man, dude, it's like a BioShock, but just it's so good. It's like more scientific. You can do many different approaches to different environments. There's always quick save too. That's the one thing I want to put in there. It's not like, oh, you die, you lose 2 hours of progress or
Yeah,
something.
of course.
It's pretty generous with that. But yeah, no, I'm 10 hours or 8 to 10 hours into it, and I'm loving it so much.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, because like old co-host Drew McMillan over on my old podcast, the Game Moose podcast. When that game came out, like we went in two very different directions of that because I was the one that didn't like it, and he couldn't shut up about it for 2 months because of how much he loved that game. So yeah, I can totally understand that because I think it's a very polarizing game where like a lot of people are just either like really into it or just not into it at all.
Yeah. If you like BioShock, I would implore you to just try it out.
Yeah.
Just like try out for the first few hours. And if you think it's too hard, you can knock the difficulty down for sure. And just try a little bit more because, man, it's I'm loving it. Ryan. So
for me, it wasn't even the difficulty. It was just the act of playing the game just wasn't that fun to me.
Okay.
But that's just how I play games. That's different. That's not a disrespect to the game itself.
Yeah. I'm curious. Did you ever play Dishonored?
I did play Dishonored, but those were not for me either.
So I think they kind of they share a very similar formula.
Yeah.
And where you sneak it around, you're first person.
Yeah.
You can, and then you have to be pretty quick with your combat. Yeah.
Believe it or not, Garrett, the one game from Arcane that I actually finished was Redfall. That's the only one. That's the only one I finished.
You know, it makes sense because it's a first-person shooter and it's pretty approachable, right? Like
it's also super short too.
It's super short, yeah.
Yeah, you can beat that game in like 6 hours.
Man, but anyways, Prey is so good. Go play it. It's on Game Pass and it's literally everywhere. And it's it plays really well on Steam Deck as well. So handhelds for sure. So There you go. That's my second thing. Sorry. Third thing, be really quick here. Yesterday I played a hardcore game of Settlers of Catan.
Oh my god,
Very
how
hardcore
was that?
Well, we had 5 players, so we had the 5 to 6 player expansion with it, and we went on for quite a bit. I wouldn't say it's like tense in the room or whatever, but it was just a long game, and so I was 1 point short of winning, and then everyone targeted me, grabbed all my cards, and then of course another player won. So.
I was gonna say that's kind of how that works though.
Yeah.
You can't like in a game like that, like in a multiplayer game like that, you can't get yourself too far ahead too quickly, or else everyone will target you.
Or else,
it's the lesson I learned from playing Risk, Garrett, because I love the board game Risk, and that's the same thing in that game. Where if you expand too quickly, people will target you first, or form alliances to take you down. Mm-hmm. So you gotta be the sneaky one to kind of take the
love Catan.
Yeah, nice,
good stuff.
Well, anyways, Garrett, we should probably clear the dungeon so we can get to the raid boss as quickly as possible. So, folks at home, if you want to support the show, there's a number of amazing ways to do that. Number one, if you're watching the live stream right now, over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, or if you're watching the video on demand later, don't forget to tap that like button, kick that subscribe button, maybe, roll a D20 and let us know in the comments below what you got on your D20. We would love to hear from you. Also, if you're listening on audio feeds, don't forget to rate us if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or just hitting the subscribe button helps the show grow in a big way as well. Also, if you want one big podcast feed with the entire Carpool Gaming cinematic universe on it, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/carpoolgaming, just like Sean Hennigan did, who joined at the ad-free tier. For folks that don't know, actually, on the audio feeds, on the free feeds, there's always an advertisement that comes up, usually with my voice or Sean or Seth, trying to tell you all about patreon.com/carpoolgaming. So if you don't want to hear that ad and you want to listen to the audio feeds we have at the $1 tier over on Patreon, go get that ad-free tier like Sean Hennigan did. Or also Hoppel, who upgraded from the exclusive tier to the gold member tier. So shout out to Hoppel as well. Shout out to all of our patrons, of course. Patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Of course, we also have a website, carpoolgaming.com, where we've got all of our merch, including our RPG Cave t-shirts, as well as all the other merch from all the other Carpool Gaming podcasts. And then last thing on the docket, Garrett, this also is not a role-playing game, but I have to at least, promote this a little bit.
Go for it.
If you're listening on audio feeds, whether it's on Patreon or the free feeds, by the time you're listening to this, our review of Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga will be live. Sean Capri did the review.
Boom.
Sean and I have both been playing the game. I'm not going to obviously talk about it now, even though you're probably listening to this in the future where the embargo has already lifted. That is not at the current time that we're doing this live recording. So just FYI, our thoughts will be up there very soon for y'all to check out. So please make sure...
Nice.
Head on over youtube.com/carpoolgaming in the morning on Tuesday to check out our full impressions. And then, so Sean's doing his review, and then we're doing like a review discussion, which should be out sometime this week as well. So
Cool.
look out for that. But
I'm looking forward to that for sure. And you know what? On Game Pass, so I'll definitely play it sometime.
yeah. Anyways, Garrett, it is now time to read from the sacred texts. I'm going to answer Star Athena's question real quick. Tomorrow, yes? Yes, Star Athena. The game is actually out at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, so the reviews will be up then. So just FYI, that's the thing.
I'm curious why they did such an interesting time zone. Is Ninja Theory Europe?
They are. They're in like Scandinavia or something.
Oh, okay. That makes a little bit more sense, but
yeah, because that's like it's like the afternoon in the time. I think it's like noon in whatever time zone that Ninja Theory is actually physically in.
Okay, makes sense. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I still need to play the first one. It's still in my backlog, so I'll definitely play that first.
A bunch of our Xbox Drive folks just played it for the first time this week. Like,
so cool.
Sean and Mitch both played it for the first time this week. I think Bowser had already played it, but was playing it again for the show. So
Cool.
Anyways, let's talk about our predictions there, Garrett. Now, I know this is a little bit early. For folks at home are probably
Very
wondering, we're doing our predictions episode a little bit early. But just so folks know, Garrett is actually going to be away next week. And then...
I'm sorry.
And then 2 weeks from now, we're basically going to be at the Showtime. Things are going to leak. And I would rather us just get this out of the way, get our predictions out in the wild while they're still fresh, while they haven't leaked yet. And we'll get this out there, get this show on the road. Exactly. We also did predictions this week on PlayStation Drive as well. So, two
cool.
prediction shows in a row for me, Garrett. It's very exciting. I love predictions. So
I can tell.
Nice. So first of all, before we go into our predictions for the Summer Game Fest period, and when I say Summer Game Fest, I don't just mean the Summer Game Fest presentation. Right. I mean, like everything that's going to happen during the quote unquote E3 week, whether it's the Nintendo Direct, whether it's the Xbox Showcase, whether it's at the Devolver Digital Showcase, all of that stuff still counts. That it basically from here until the end of Summer Game Fest, that is where these predictions will lie.
Okay. Actually, before we get into it, I actually looked up the events actually like formally announced at Summer Game Fest. And so we have, the regular presentation of the Summer Games Fest. We got Day of the Devs presentation. We got the Wholesome Direct that Locklith loves, and I love too. I love that Direct a lot. We got the Latin Games Showcase as well. So that'll be interesting. And then it's the Women-Led Games Summer Game Fest presentation.
Yep.
Then we got the Xbox Showcase plus Redacted Game. Of course, we all know what that is. And the PC Gaming Show. So those are the ones that are formally announced. I'm sure you did predictions yesterday. Of course, there might be a Sony showcase.
They already announced that one's happening before the end of the month. So that's why we did the PlayStation Showcase predictions this week. Just to make sure, because they usually announce that like a day or two before it happens. So we wanted to just get them out there.
Yeah, so that's imminent.
And likewise, Nintendo already announced that their next Direct is in June.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming it's the same week as all this.
Yeah. It'll be in that month for sure, but...
because they just said June, but I'm like, it would be weird for them not to go on that Tuesday like they usually do.
And was there a Ubisoft event as well?
Yeah, Ubisoft Forward. It's happening.
Yeah, wow, it's not even on the Summer Game Fest calendar.
They haven't even announced the time yet for it, so I think they're still working it out. But I think it's on the Saturday that week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Assassin's Creed Shadows.
That's technically a role-playing game.
Technically a role-playing game.
It's, as far as we know of, the last Assassin's Creed role-playing style game.
Yeah, at least what they say. So
yeah, I hope there's more, because I actually like those more than the normal Assassin's Creed games.
I understand.
But anyways, so I wanted to, us to go over kind of our predictions from earlier in the year first before we get into these, because I'm curious to know. Obviously, one of these has already come true at this point, but also how many of these are going to kind of tie into our predictions, or if we think we're going to see any of these during these showcases. So starting off, Garrett, I'll start with mine first here. Of course, Garrett, thank you very much for putting these together, by the way, going back and listening to the old episode.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So first off, I said a brand new mainline Shining Force or Phantasy Star game would be announced this year, because that was so pie in the sky. I was just like, yeah, it's just going to happen. I'm not going to tie a specific date or anything to it, but
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That hasn't happened yet, by the way. I'm very sad. One day, Sega.
I'm sad too.
Next up, Bandai Namco will announce a Xenosaga collection for Switch. Again, hasn't happened yet.
Pipe dream.
Square Enix announces and releases a new game in the Lufia series. It'll either be turn-based, turn-based into action-based combat.
Yeah, you said it will be an action-based game because Square Enix always brings like a modern
there you go.
kind of game from like a old series.
That's right. Yeah, kind of like the Mana series. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and then my honorable mentions were Fallout New Vegas remake gets announced, and then World of Warcraft gets a console edition coming in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we might actually see it if that actually happens. By the way, this year, Garrett, if they do announce that, that will actually probably be at the Xbox Showcase this year because BlizzCon it got canceled this year. So
it did get canceled. Yeah.
I would imagine we actually get some if there's actual Blizzard news this year. Actual factual Blizzard news this year, it'll be at the Xbox Showcase. So,
cool.
And Garrett, you
Yes.
said a sequel or spiritual successor of Pokemon Legends Arceus is announced. Now that was announced, but there's a caveat, right?
Yeah. So I said it would be in the Kanto Johto region of some kind. That is not the case. It is in one city, and I believe it's Generation 5. It's in the Lumos city.
Right.
Pokemon Zao, Legend Zao, or something like that, right?
Yep.
So I would say half right on that one. So
yeah, no, you still get points. You're still like farther on the board than I am at this point. You're winning. You're winning the race so far, guys.
Yeah.
Second, Xbox Showcase Mistwalker collaboration. So Fantasian Day One on Game Pass. Lost Odyssey sequel announcement.
Let's do it.
That's
do it,
not
Ryan.
happening.
They just shut down their only Japanese studio. Of course, they want to bring in another Japanese influenced studio into the fold.
I still think they want Japanese games. I just don't think they want to make them themselves. That's just what I've come to the conclusion of at this point.
No, I agree with you, Ryan. Yeah,
because I still think we're going to see Sega announce something during that Xbox Showcase.
Man, I mean, if Sega comes in, I would. Man, I don't know if it's gonna be Persona related or
I don't think so. I actually think it might be one of those franchises they announced at the Game Awards in December. So like Streets of Rage, Jet Set Radio, like when they announced like those like 5 new franchise games in those franchises are coming back. Like Golden Axe, there's a new Golden Axe game coming apparently. Like I think one of those will be what's announced from Xbox at that.
I see. Okay. Yeah. No, it makes sense.
I mean, unless Atlas has something else, but it's probably just because if Atlas announces anything, it's probably just another trailer for Metaphor at this point.
Yeah. No, Atlas is not going to reveal anything new at the showcase this year because they got Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance and Metaphor, so they're packed this year. Yeah. Also,
Yarden, of course, correctly points out new Crazy Taxi. Let's go. Yeah. That's all I know. That's burned into my brain because of Crazy Taxi. So, of course, Garrett, if you don't understand the reference, that's All I Want by the Offspring.
I know.
On constant loop when playing Crazy Taxi.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. And then last prediction you had was Starfield will have a No Man's Sky moment where it has like its redemption arc this year.
Yeah. I don't think it has happened yet. It has its update.
It's got maps now.
It's got maps, but I don't think it has its No Man's Sky moment. I really need a reception, check from the audience. And the more specifically, I said Steam would be mostly positive. Or I should probably change it to overwhelmed.
We had to, because we had to add qualifiers to this. So we had to know whether or not to get points for it.
Like the Steam reviewers should say mostly positive on both. So
I mean, I don't know if you listened to the PlayStation Drive this week, Garrett, but one of my predictions for the PlayStation Drive was Starfield gets announced for PS5 and it's coming out in September. So
that would be insane.
I think that might play into the turnaround a little bit if something like that happens. But
Oof.
Honorable mentions, of course, that you had Fallout 3 remake. So I went New Vegas. You went with Fallout 3. Oblivion remake is shadow dropped at the Xbox Showcase, and then Atlas Shin Megami Tensei overclocked.
Yeah, the overclock, the 2 3DS games, that's not going to happen.
No.
And it's like, because Atlas is packed and we are not going to get anything else. So, and I think, we always hear rumblings of Fallout 3 and Oblivion. I think those two are going to be announced.
They were on the NVIDIA leak.
They're on the NVIDIA leak.
They have to come out at some point, I think.
Yeah, and really with Fallout 3, with the show just being this past month and, having crazy positive feedback and reception, I could see that really on the fast track now. It's like, oh, Fallout's hot.
Yep.
Let's get this kicked into gear.
That's kind of what they made it sound like too when they released the statement about them closing Arcane and Tango, was that they wanted to focus more on those larger franchises, and it basically read like Bethesda is just like all hands on deck to get Fallout out as quickly as possible. So we're not waiting until 2037 for Fallout 5 at this point.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the idea there. But,
and we're from Todd Howard's interview. Man, who did they interview with? Oh, kind of funny. He said one thing and another thing and another thing. Like he said 3 things he couldn't say about Fallout. I was like, all right, Todd. Well, we got something.
Jordan brings up a great point in the chat here. They got to do something with New Vegas soon. So much hype around it right now, and that's mostly because of the show.
Yeah,
because the show ties into New Vegas in a big way. So it's just
it does.
It almost feels like it was planned, because we know Todd Howard was involved with the planning of the Fallout TV show as far as, where the story went and stuff like that. So I'm like, I feel like that was done intentionally, knowing that there's like a New Vegas remake or remaster.
I'm going to lose myself when I see that, Ryan. Like when I see that Xbox showcase and I see New Vegas remake and a trailer for that, I'm going to go crazy. I can't wait.
But what happens if it's just a remaster where it's just coming to all the other platforms? Fallout 4.
Well, they better just fix the bugs.
I mean, we can't ask for too much.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that was one of the reasons why I didn't play New Vegas when it came out, was because of all the jank, and then I just never ended up playing it. So
yeah, makes sense.
One of these days, Garrett, I gotta play New Vegas. I'm kind of just like, I was gonna play it after watching the show, but I'm like,
hold out.
I'm gonna hold out because I think there might be something coming. So I'm gonna wait
for sure.
But so Garrett, I intentionally did not incorporate any of my stuff from my predictions into what I predicted earlier this year. Did you do that at all with yours?
No. I did not incorporate any of that into my predictions.
So the reason I brought that up is because I want to talk about this now that we've got these predictions out there. What of our predictions do we think actually happens during Summer Game Fest? And also, folks at home, if you're listening on audio feeds and if it sounds like there's either gunshots or popcorn coming up from outside, today is a holiday in Canada. It's Victoria Day, and people are just letting off fireworks like crazy. Right?
Wait, Victoria Day, Canadians pop off fireworks?
They sure do.
That is so interesting. Okay.
I mean, that happens at almost every summer holiday. Like Canada Day, the long weekend in September, like all of them have fireworks.
Oh, okay. It's really 4th of July. Oh, no, we're about to have it next weekend with Memorial Day, so.
That's what I mean. Victoria Day is basically Memorial Day for us, Garrett, so.
Yeah, Canada, it's like a doppelganger. It's like U.S. in an alternate universe. When I hear about holidays and Celsius, but you have just, you speak English, but you have some French in there. It boggles my mind.
Every sign and everything you look at has to have English and French on it, Garrett.
I understand, because you got like a good subset of people only speaking French there, but
we also have Thanksgiving in October, just because.
That's just
YOLO.
Wild. I'm telling you, alternate universe USA is in Canada. But anyways, okay, let's of the things that are gonna be real. I'm still holding out with the Shining Force and Fantasy Star.
Oh, please God, let that be real. Like, I would lose my stuff if we got one of those two announced, like a brand new game in like the traditional style, like not another Phantasy Star Online, not another Shining Force action RPG spinoff. Oh no! When I made that prediction, I was like very much like in the grain of like a traditional style. Like, I would freak out if that happened, Garrett.
I think that's the most believable one out of the 3 that you've put in.
More believable than Xenosaga, because like Bandai Namco and Nintendo work together all the time on stuff.
I know they do.
Like, we got that Batten Kaitos collection, and I didn't think that was ever going to happen, and that was the same deal.
My same argument still stands. It was on a Nintendo platform. Xenosaga is not. I can see a Xenoblade Chronicles X announced on Switch. Or Switch 2 or whatever, but Xenosaga Collection, I can't see it. I don't know. Does Bandai Namco do a lot of collections and remakes?
Yeah, they do a lot of that stuff. They do a lot of re-releases. They do a lot more old re-releases, but they also like have been re-releasing a lot of the Tales games. They do a lot of re-releases, like
Okay.
Especially all their anime stuff. Like they re-release all those Naruto games all the time. So
Oh, right. Yeah, I just I think when they were so going back to the Sega announcement, they said, you know, we'll have this and this franchise and more. And I'm really thinking that and more.
yeah,
It's gonna be one of those two because those are the biggest ones,
Yeah.
I would say, in the old Sega.
no, and I think Sega
franchises.
knows that RPGs sell, like the RPGs that they make sell, like
Yeah.
with the examples being, you know, Like a Dragon and Persona, where they made that recent announcement, Garrett, that they want to make those yearly franchises.
Yeah.
So like I feel like maybe they go back to the well on one of these old RPG franchises, especially something like Shining Force, which is very different from the other RPGs they have in their staple. Phantasy Star would probably be much closer, obviously, to, you know, Persona, because it would probably be turn-based again. But something like Shining Force, having a tactical role-playing game, going after that Fire Emblem money, like I think is like a really smart move that I
For
can't
sure.
believe they're not capitalizing on in some way.
Yeah,
Especially
me
because that
neither.
mobile game got canceled. That mobile version looked really good. Like it looked like Fire Emblem Heroes, but better. So I was very sad when that Shining Force mobile game got canceled. But as for me, like of the games of these predictions that I think are most likely to happen, actually is our honorable mentions with the Fallout or Oblivion things. Because I
Yeah,
think,
do you think New Vegas, Fallout 3, and Oblivion, all three of them would be announced?
I don't think it'll be all three. I think it'll be one or maybe two, in the sense that like if there was an
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls and a Fallout, I could see them doing it that way.
Yeah, me too.
I also would think if Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas are remasters instead of remakes, maybe that's just a collection, like, or a 2-pack that they put out.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But I wonder how they would do that. But I think at least one, if not two of those will be announced.
Yeah, I can see that. And, you know, when you said the show is ending with New Vegas, I'm leaning towards more and more New Vegas. I'm very curious if if Bethesda and Exile and Obsidian are kind of talking about this right now.
Yeah.
They're like, what are we gonna do with this? We got New Vegas, but we got the Fallout franchise where we can spend. I feel like they could spin out something with Obsidian or in Exile. Really,
Yeah. More likely Obsidian, because
Yeah.
In Exile is really busy. Like it's all hands on decks on Clockwork
The
Revolution, and I don't think
Clockwork
that's
Revolution,
coming
yeah.
out till next year.
Yeah.
If I'm a betting man, so like, that's why I think they're probably not as involved with that. It's probably more Obsidian.
Yeah, I think it's more of a just like maybe a direction kind of thing for one of the Fallout games. So, yeah, I'm curious if they would do a spin-off game, but yeah, they'll do a New Vegas. One of them will be a remake, one of them will be a remastered. I think the Oblivion will be a remake.
Yeah, I think of the three, like that'll be like that's the one that has the best chance of being like a full remake,
Yeah.
not like a remaster. Whereas I think Fallout 3 or New Vegas, I think they just want to get those on other platforms at this point.
Yeah. That would be great to have it on Switch.
Yeah,
For
like
sure.
Switch and PlayStation. I think that's what they want to do, is get those on those platforms specifically.
Yeah.
So I think that's the reason behind it. And then you of course have a new shiny version for Xbox and PC players to have, kind of like they
That'd be
did
cool.
with Fallout 4 in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad we at least talked about that and kind of fleshed those out a little bit, because now, Garrett, we're now going to get into our fresh predictions. Now
Let's do it.
We're going to do 3 predictions each, like we
Okay.
usually do, and then of course we've got time for honorable mentions. We'll throw some honorable mentions in here as well if we've got them. I have 2 extra, but I also, you never know, they might overlap. Although these are very Ryan Turford predictions, so they probably aren't, Garrett. But we'll find
Got
out.
it.
But Garrett, would you like to go first or second?
I'll go first this time.
Okay.
You
Oh,
So
I was going to say, do we want to do odds this time, or do we want to do normal points?
you know what? I've done more grounded predictions here. It's fine to not do odds on this one. We can just talk about it. How about
Okay.
that?
I
Yeah,
like that.
and-
Okay, and well, I mean, please. I'm going to turn this. I'm going to gamify this, so there will be
Sure.
points will be awarded of some
Points
kind.
will
It'll
be
just be
awarded.
1 point instead of like 9 or 10 with odds.
Yeah, that sounds good, because I really didn't go like, crazy balls to the wall, kind of like my predictions in the
Also,
beginning of the year.
I'm just going to throw it out there for those that have done the prediction game before. predicting RPGs is really hard. So
Yeah,
it's just one of those things where they're all kind of like crazy predictions in a lot of ways anyways. So, I mean, it's tougher to do odds with RPGs, I think.
Yeah. So first off, I think this has been long in the making, and I think I expect this coming out soon. You can call it an RPG, you can not. It doesn't matter. I think it's an RPG. Well, Gearbox was acquired by 2K recently. They are making something, and we all know what they're making. They are holding the dear life on Borderlands, the franchise, to make sure that they, get their money off of it as much as they can, extract that value. Randy Pitchford and his magical tricks.
Well, they have the movie coming out in August, Garrett.
That's true. You are correct, and it looks kind of interesting. But anyways, Borderlands 4 will be announced at I would say Summer Game Fest.
Yeah.
It'll be multi-platform for sure, and I think it releases later this year.
Oh.
I think it's right around the corner because it's been a while since Tiny Tina. I think they have a formula down and they have a good time schedule, and they've been just working on this game for a good while. I mean, Borderlands 3 came out 2019. Tiny Tina came out in 2022.
Yep.
And that was their kind of side spinoff game. Really, really good as well. But they have let's say they have a cadence, and it'll be pretty close to Borderlands 3, I would say, like in terms of engine and writing and everything. It'll come out on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. So no last gen stuff.
Yeah, I would imagine like if there will be a version for Switch 2 next year, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they will later on because they have Borderlands 3 Switch, which is kind of crazy. But I'll give you an exact date, Ryan. November 8th, 2024.
Oh, geez. Oh, I like this. Swinging some dingers over here. I like the exactness of this because I felt like this would have been very safe because we do know 2K announced this week that they have one of the games in their biggest franchises being announced at Summer Game Fest this year. And I think you and I are both on the same page in this, where I think it's going to be Borderlands. I saw a lot of people saying it's going to be BioShock. And we know that there is a new BioShock game that is in development as well. But like, I actually think it's more likely Borderlands because the movie's coming. So I was going to ask you, Garrett, but you adding the release date, like, chef's kiss. I love you taking a chance with that, and because I'm gonna be doing that a couple times with mine. But I'm curious to know, Garrett, why that release date? Is there like a specific reason for it?
No, they typically go into the fall for their Borderlands franchises, and I would say they love early November time frame. So, and it's a Friday, and I think that's more of a they like it to be more international release date right before Black Friday. They want, once they have the movie out in August, kind of settle it out. I think November is a good time frame. So I think I really think it's this year. They want. I think if they had Borderlands 4, it's like, hey, we're gonna release it next year. I think they'll announce it next year. They're not gonna kind of dance around that. That announcement. So it'll be straightforward.
Rybo has been assigning odds to ours since we haven't. So Rybo says Vegas setting the odds on that date for 800 to 1 as the odds for it actually releasing that date.
I like it.
Yeah. So the only thing that's going to bum me out about that prediction, Garrett, if it actually is true, is that means that they're going to keep using the Borderlands 3 engine, and I want them to use something else, but they're not going to.
I don't think they are. No. I think they'll just be a little bit maybe more upscaled, but they're going to have the same art style. I feel like it's going to be as close to Borderlands 3 as we'll ever think of it. It's just going to be Borderlands 3 Extended Edition. That's what I think Borderlands 4 is going to be.
Okay.
But that's just how I feel with it. Hopefully, I like Borderlands 2 a lot, as everyone knows. 3 is, I think it's just okay. I think they really amped up on the gameplay, but the story is not so good compared to 2. But we'll see how 4 goes. I think it's still good, mindless fun. It's still the original looter shooter, so I'm excited for it.
Not super fun if you've got friends, like if you've got co-op, like if you do co-op, it's really fun. So yeah, I think that's a really good pick. And again, with the movie, it makes perfect sense for it to be that this year. Like, slam dunk. Like,
so
yeah,
there you go.
Later than I was expecting though, because like I actually had this penciled in as one of my predictions as well.
Okay, interesting.
Borderlands 4, because I also think you're actually like right on the dot with this one, Garrett. But I said like October instead of November, so like we're not.
I mean, we're pretty close. I October's believable too, for sure.
Yeah. I think it kind of just depends on if they got a whiff of when Call of Duty is coming out. Because if Call of Duty is like the first week of November,
they're
it's not
done.
going to come out the same week as Call of Duty.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe they're waiting.
Yeah.
Fall 2024. We're waiting for Call of Duty.
No, they'll probably announce it. You're right though. They'll probably announce it at Summer Game Fest, and the Call of Duty will be announced at the Xbox showcase. It looks like.
Yeah. So we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, they're going to change. They'll change the release date later if they have to. But, anyways, my first prediction at the Xbox showcase specifically.
Okay.
Bandai Namco will announce the newest game in the Tales of franchise. It will be a cinematic trailer. There's not really going to be any gameplay. Maybe some hints of gameplay, but not a lot of gameplay. It's mostly going to be like trying to set up the story and stuff like that. It's not going to be a sequel to Tales of Arise or anything like that. It's just going to be a brand new Tales of something game. And they're just going to slap a generic 2025 release date on it and just call it a day. Because that's what they do with these games. Like Bandai Namco, if it's not coming out this year, they're just going to attach a generic release date to it. But they have a great relationship with Xbox. Like that when they announced like One Piece Odyssey, it was at Xbox. When they announced Tales of Arise, it was at Xbox. Same with its expansion. So like I expect that the next Tales game is coming out next year, and it's time to announce it now. They're just going to get the announcement because I think it'll be like early next year. Like they're probably thinking like Q1 2025. So I expect that they just want to get the announcement out now. So then, they can announce the release date later on this year at Game Awards or something. And it'll just be, sometime next year. It'll be exciting. And
sounds good, man.
Us Tales fans will be excited. So this is probably like what I think one of my safest predictions besides the next one I'm about to do afterwards. But
it's totally believable, especially because Tales of Arise is now on Game Pass of recent, and people are playing it or going into it. So I could see the Tales of franchise being more at least associated with Xbox. Of course, it's going to be everywhere, but showcasing at the Xbox showcase, it definitely makes sense because of their history.
I think they'll at least have the marketing rights. Yeah, like that's the idea. And they wrapped up the story with Tales of Arise with the expansion that they released last year. So, but that was like a kind of in between games thing, which is why I'm pretty sure this next version is coming in 2025. So
cool. That sounds good.
It's been a long time too since Tales of Arise even came out. Like that was 2021, I believe.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah,
long time ago.
I can't believe 2021's a long time ago.
No, but when you think about it, it'll be 4 years between entries.
That's true.
I think that makes a lot of sense for these types of games, especially because they'll use the same engine as Tales of Arise with whatever the next one is, because that was a new engine that they built for current gen consoles. Got it.
Sounds good. I like it. Okay. So, I'll keep on the Xbox train, and it's interesting that you put that into the showcase, because I have a Japanese-related prediction for the Xbox showcase, and I think Square Enix will be there in some form or fashion. They'll have a bigger presence at the Xbox showcase. So I think there's a few things that can happen here. I think these 4 things are believable. I don't know if all 4 things are gonna, come to fruition, but these 4, I just noted down. Maybe 3 of the 4 I would like to see happen.
Okay, 3 or 4. I like that. I like where you're going with this at.
Mm-hmm. First thing, Final Fantasy 16 gets announced.
Okay.
For Xbox and PC. Now this could be in the Xbox showcase, or it could be Summer Games Fest. Really.
So I should preface for future Ryan and future Garrett. Final Fantasy 16 is already announced for PC. It's just they haven't announced a release date yet.
Yes, yeah. So I'm getting into that. It'll be releasing early October.
Okay, perfect.
Later this year. Yeah. So that it'll be like a full on trailer. And it's like, hey, this is for Xbox, and it'll have the Xbox kind of mantra. It's just like, hey, it's finally coming to this platform. Second thing. We've already got this announced, Octopath Traveler 2 for Xbox, but they'll have a release date.
Yeah.
Releasing later this year. It'll be this year. Octopath Traveler 2. Safe bet.
So when do you think it actually comes out? Because I'm still thinking that comes out. That might even just be shadow dropped during the showcase. Like, it's available now. Go buy it now.
Actually, with Hi-Fi Rush, I think Xbox is very hesitant to put anything shadow.
But this is up to Square Enix and not Xbox, though.
That's true. I mean, if they want a shadow drop on the Xbox showcase, they can. I would say August. Okay. Give it a few months to let it mingle, and then it'll release on Xbox. And not Game Pass. It's not going to be on anything associated.
They already
with Game Pass.
confirmed it's not going to be on Game Pass. So
okay,
I
cool.
agree. Yeah,
cool. Did the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster announced for Xbox?
Nope, not been announced yet.
All right, it'll be announced for Xbox. It'll just be announced and released later this year as well, in the fall. It'll just say fall 2024. No release date of any kind, and not associated with Game Pass at all. But I think the fourth thing is interesting. I think they're going to have some waves of pre-existing Square Enix games on the platform coming to Game Pass that haven't been on the Game Pass platform at all. And I think, I have 2 games in here, but actually 3 games. You ready? So there's Star Ocean Divine Force, Dragon Quest Monster: The Dark Prince, and Harvestella. Those are the 3 I've noted down. It's just gonna say coming to Game Pass. It's not gonna say releasing this time.
Like,
it'll
be it'll be like in a montage, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, we already have some Square Enix games on our platforms or on Xbox. They're coming to Game Pass at some point, this year or something like that.
I have to ask this specifically for Rybo. Why is one of those games not Various Day Life, Garrett?
Oh God.
Moving on.
Let that thing die. Let that thing die.
No, it will never die. Rybo will continue to champion for Various Day Life, and I will encourage him to do so.
Oh boy. So there you go. Square Enix coming to Xbox. I think they'll just be it's not like, here's our next major game, but they just want a bigger presence on that platform. Here you go. And of course Microsoft is championing that. It's like, yes, come over here. We would love your games.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I think this is also just part of their whole MO, that where they just, told investors, hey, just so you know, most of our games are going to come to other platforms now, and we're not going to do like the exclusive thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And of course, Rybo, chimes in. I am here to spread the gospel of Various Day Life. Thanks, Rybo.
Goodness.
Appreciate you, buddy. Garrett, what if Forspoken comes to Xbox? What if Valkyrie Elysium comes to Xbox? Like some of these games.
Yeah, I was thinking Valkyrie Elysium Profile as well.
Some of those games would be good for Xbox, but I love to see more Square Enix stuff on Xbox. So I think that's a great pick overall. And I think the one shoe-in that will be there that you didn't mention, because it was at the Xbox partner showcase earlier this year, Visions of Mana, because it doesn't have a release date yet. And Xbox has the marketing. Sure. I think that'll be there too with its release date, like 100%.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's not one of my predictions, by the way. So future Ryan, don't count that. But okay, that's a good one, Garrett. I like it. But moving on, my second one is Konami will finally announce the release date for the upcoming Suikoden collection. It's coming out on September 24th.
Wow.
That's my prediction.
Exact date. There we go.
I'm an exact date person, Garrett. I like the exact dates. I like just, swinging for the fence with some of these, because it's boring if I just say that it's going to get a release date, Garrett. But if I go with a specific release date, then it's exciting. That's the way I look at it. But it's a Tuesday. Konami usually releases all of its games on Tuesday and not on Friday. So I think that's more the reason why I picked that date specifically. And September is just the window when I expect this coming up, because I talked about it on PlayStation Drive, because I kind of mapped this out in my brain. I think Konami wants to release Silent Hill in October. So it makes sense for them to do like Suikoden in September and Silent Hill in October. And that's kind of Konami's contributions to the gaming world for the year, unless they have a random collection that they want to throw out this year at some point.
Cool.
Which I
would like it.
Yeah.
Or
Metal Gear Solid might actually come out this year too, like Metal Gear Delta.
The Delta, yeah. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Yarden points out it would be perfect timing considering the mixed reception to Iron Chronicles. 100%. In fact, that Suikoden collection was supposed to come out last year and got delayed to an ambiguous date this year. So like, we don't even know, we haven't gotten an update at all of when that thing's even coming out, other than just 2024 at this point. So, yeah, I'm assuming it actually comes out, Garrett, and sees the light of day, because I'm an optimist. So that's why September 24th, you're finally going to get your Sweet in action on. If not, if it's not that exact date, it'll be sometime in September, I think.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Sounds good. I like it.
Third prediction for points, Garrett. Last prediction for points.
Third prediction. Let's see here. Sorry, I put in 6. I'm trying to see which one.
I know. We'll do the honorable mentions, and I will refer to this as the triangle strategy of predictions, Garrett. Your triangle strategy prediction.
I love it. Okay, so here's my third prediction: the Witcher 1 remastered will be debuted and showcased at the Xbox presentation.
Dang, son.
And I would love that. Well, of course, Cyberpunk, Xbox had the marketing rights for that game, and I think they just want to keep on with that partnership. And I think we're going to get an ambiguous 2025. Okay. Nothing else. I think it's really just going to be a logo, maybe a little bit more trailer, like a full-fledged cinematic trailer of some kind with Witcher 1. I don't think anyone knows what Witcher 1 looks like or has played it of recent, especially the new Witcher 3 fans, including myself. So I think this is just going to be a nice, they're going to treat this as a new, fresh game in the CD Projekt Red kind of game line here. So yeah, Witcher 1 remastered coming in 2025. And that's it.
Yeah, if it's coming out next year, I think they just want to get the ball rolling to remind people that game is actually coming, because they announced it like 3 or 4 years ago in a random tweet.
They announced it so long ago.
Yeah, and we just haven't heard anything about it at this point. And you're probably right that it is probably Xbox, because not only that, but if I remember back to 2015, Garrett, I'm actually pretty sure that they also had the marketing rights for Witcher 3 as well.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So, like, I actually think like this is a long-standing kind of thing with Xbox. So, I suspect that you're probably correct. If it's gonna be, it'll be there at Summer Game Fest if it's there at all.
Yeah,
it'll be one of those two. But all right, Garrett, I'm ready. I'm ready for you to hear my final prediction here. This is the most Ryan Turford prediction out there, but this one's backed by very solid evidence, Garrett, if I may. You already probably can guess where this is going. At the Nintendo Direct, a Lunar re-release or collection will be announced. It's coming this August. Please be excited. Again, this is steeped in science. So first off, Gung Ho Games, the company that owns the license to Lunar, just re-released the game on Android. It was on iOS. It came out a couple years ago on iOS. And they said, just so you know, we've got more to announce on Lunar later this year. Then, a couple months ago, we saw the trademark for Lunar be re-upped for this year as well. So, all signs point to, Garrett, and this is the one year I'm finally actually able to say this with some confidence, that something Lunar is actually happening this year, where there will be something like Lunar will be coming to consoles in some capacity. I assume Switch is just where it's going to come, and then it'll probably come to everything as well. But like, I'm assuming like the same kind of role as like the Grandia collection,
right?
Where that was exclusive on like a timed exclusive on Switch that came to other platforms, because they also did the Grandia collection as well. So I'm just assuming they're going to do like the same playbook for this one. But get ready, Garrett. We're going to be playing Lunar on our Switch later this year. And it's going to be exciting, because I can't wait to go back and play it again, because I love Lunar.
Now, is this going to be similar to the Grandia HD collection? You think it's going to be a collection?
So I think it'll be that
games?
Or it'll just be the first one just re-released, like the PSP version, which is what's on iOS. They iOS and Android, they basically created a mobile version of the PSP remake of Lunar. So
I see.
I'm assuming it'll be that, or it'll be a collection with that and Lunar 2.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
sounds good.
I would love it if it was collection, but the safe thing would just be the first one. But I would love to see both, because especially Lunar 2, because it's barely come to anything besides the Sega Saturn and the PS1. So it doesn't exist in a lot of places.
I'm rooting for you, Ryan, on this one. I hope it's right. I hope it's correct. I think it's believable. It's totally believable that this would happen. So, yeah.
I've always thought about this. Like, this has always been like a pie in the sky kind of thought like prediction or in earlier years, but like there's legitimate science that actually points to this actually happening. Like it's not one of my crazy Parasite Eve predictions, Garrett. I think there's actually legitimate cause to think that this actually is happening.
Yeah. So cool. Sounds good. I like it.
There you go. Well, Garrett, honorable mentions. Let's hop into what some of our predictions we left on the drawing board are, because my last two are very crazy, and I'm excited for you to hear them after I hear yours.
Sounds good. Mine's are. I kind of just ran through the list a little bit. I think FromSoft's next game will be showcased at the Summer Game Fest. I think that's definitely a possibility.
Okay.
Because FromSoft, I don't know what they do, but they churn out games like crazy. I think over there.
Well, I think they have multiple teams. I think that's how they do that.
Definitely. And then you got the Fire Emblem 4 remake finally being showcased at the Nintendo Direct. Finally.
Thank God.
I hope that happens. Releasing later this year because it's going to be a Switch game, not a Switch 2 game.
I was going to say, I feel in my heart of hearts, Garrett, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you were more the Nintendo guy than I am. Mm-hmm. This year, the two big fall Switch games will be Genealogy of the Holy War and Metroid Prime 4.
Yes, I think there's going to be sprinkled of Metroid Prime 4. Yes, that I believe that too. I think they're going to. I'm not saying
they're the only games, but I think they're going to be what it's considered to be the two big Switch games this year.
Yeah, those will be the two big Switch games, and they'll have probably at least another one or two Mario or Donkey Kong or something like that related games.
Yeah, or we might see the Zelda 2-pack come about.
Zelda 2-pack. That would be interesting. I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
And I mean, regardless of whether or not Metroid Prime 4 comes out this year, I 100% think Genealogy of the Holy War is kind of their big fall game for Switch this year.
That.
And then Metroid Prime Remastered 2 and 3, I think, are definitely coming out this year too. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be interesting as well. Yeah, we'll see what they do with Metroid, because of course 4 is coming out, and I hope it comes out before Switch 2.
I would be very surprised if it doesn't, because I actually think that they want to have it, be kind of like the last kind of big Switch game, and then it'll also be like the easiest target for the deluxe, quote unquote deluxe treatment. When the Switch 2 comes out, because then they know Metroid fans like me will just buy the game twice. I am that person.
Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, I think I like that line of thinking for sure. And then last thing, I wonder what Platinum Games is doing. I feel like they're in kind of a disarray with Babylon's Fall being a flop, and then their latest, the founder of Platinum
I was gonna say Kamiya-san left the studio.
Yeah, but I think they've been working on a sequel to Chained Echoes. And I think they're going to announce it at the Nintendo Direct, because I think it's only a matter of time. They teased it. And I believe Bayonetta 3. So, yeah, I could totally see that happening.
Now,
I love the first one.
Garrett, I'm gonna slide in here for a second. Chained Echoes was not made by Platinum.
Wait, it was not?
No, it was made by one person actually. Matthias Linda made it.
Oh no, sorry, I'm not thinking. I'm thinking of another game.
I think you're also thinking about Astral Chain.
Astral Chain, that's it. I don't know why I was thinking of like Chain Echoes.
Chain Echoes is a newer game. So
yeah,
and they both have chains in the name.
Yeah, the chains is messing me up. Astral Chain. There's gonna be a sequel to Astral Chain. Thank you for correcting me, Ryan. I think someone's screaming at the microphone.
Garden right there in the chat. Astral Chain, not Alice in Chains either. It's not a sequel to Alice in Chains.
No, not a sequel to Alice in Chains. Oh man, but
that would be cool. I'd love to see that. But I also think there might be even just enough realistic possibility that instead of Astral Chain 2, they're doing just another Nier game instead. So there's always that possibility too.
Yeah. Wait. So did they do Nier Replicant?
They published Nier Replicant, but they did not work on it themselves.
That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. No. I really think they're working on Astral Chain.
Okay. I mean, I'd love to see it because I think that would be super cool. But.
Yeah, I love that game. The first one.
Well, Garrett, are you ready for my two crazy predictions?
I love your crazy predictions. Let's hear it.
All right. First one. Middle Earth and Friends announces not Embracer Group, Middle Earth and Friends, because that's the name of the company, just like Garfield and Friends, announces the Lord of the Rings collection, a collection of 3 old Lord of the Rings titles: The Two Towers, The Return of the King, and the turn-based role-playing game, The Third Age. It simply has a 2024 release date attached to it. It's coming to Switch and every other platform. It might be made by Aspire or someone else.
Oh gosh,
but because these are basically ports of PS2 games.
You said the taboo word.
I did say the taboo word because of course they would. Captain Awesome, of course, just in all caps. Oh my god, I would love The Third Age. I would too, because first of all 3 of those Lord of the Rings are awesome. 2 of them are like hack and slash games based off the movies, of course, with The Two Towers and Return of the King. But The Third Age was really cool. It was like basically like Final Fantasy X, but in the Lord of the Rings universe. Like, it was so cool. So
interesting.
Yeah, like, and we've seen this with the Star Wars games before with Embracer, so like, and Aspire. So like, I could see them realistically doing this if they could work out a deal, since they own the IP. They own the Lord of the Rings IP, so of course they can make this happen.
Yeah, well, they are called the Lord of the Rings and Friends.
Well, actually, Garrett, it's Middle Earth and Friends.
Oh, sorry, Middle Earth and Friends. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Close enough, though. Close enough.
At least they have the and Friends.
It's so dumb.
Well, I really think that's a placeholder name until they figure out what they do. So yeah, that's a.
Yeah, there's literally no merit to this other than I want to build this into the existence, Garrett, but I kind of want that to be a thing. But then the other thing that I think could plausibly happen, Garrett, on Nintendo Switch during the Nintendo Direct, a double pack of Project Cross Zone 1 and 2 is announced for the Switch later this year.
Okay, sounds good.
Because like they got to get those games off the 3DS at some point, Garrett.
Yeah.
Because like they're kind of like the other Lost Monolith Soft games besides Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I just don't feel like they're going to give people what they want with Xenoblade Chronicles X anytime soon. So they'll give them this instead.
Sure. Yeah. Cool. That sounds good.
They'll give you Project Cross Zone 1 and 2, and you'll like it. Okay, you'll like it. That's
I'm sure if you put it on Switch, you'll get a lot of sales. So
that's what I mean.
I would be surprised.
It'll actually probably get like a good breath of fresh air or brand new life over the 3DS version, which just came out like the wrong time and with no advertising.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, those are our predictions. But Garrett, we got 2 more questions from the audience before we end the show tonight. Starting with CrocoKyle, who asks, how do you guys think Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door is going to do? If it sells well with Super Paper Mario RPG also having sold well, do you think Nintendo is going to go back to the old Paper Mario formula? Do you see them dipping back into the Mario RPG series at some point? As always, love and appreciate you both. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Well, thank you so much for the kind words, CrocoKyle.
Yeah, thank you.
It. This is an interesting question, Garrett, because Mario RPG, from what we know from the latest Nintendo physical report, it sold pretty well, like what they're expecting. So if Thousand Year Door does well, first of all, do we think it's going to do well? I think it is. I think it's going to be
I think it's going to do quite a bit. Like, it's not going to be, crazy successful as like a Tedpole franchise, but it'll be very successful for what it does.
I actually think because of the positive word of mouth with this game, it's actually going to sell better than Mario RPG did last year.
Yes. No, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think
Plus the timing really helps too, because it's coming out in the middle of May, and there's just not a lot of stuff that's coming out this month, especially on Switch. So I think a lot of people are going to pick this one up this month.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. It's gonna do really well. So I'm looking forward to it.
So then with the second part of CrocoKyle's question, do we think they ever go back to the Mario RPG format, whether it is with Paper Mario or going back to Mario and Luigi or maybe doing something different? Because I feel like there's going to be enough fuel with these 2 releases to show Nintendo that they should make Mario RPGs of some kind again. Whether it is Mario and Luigi, whether it is just Mario RPG, whether it's just a brand new Mario RPG franchise. I think they need to... They will know with these 2 releases that they should be doing more of these. But what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm kind of split on this because right now, the Mario and Luigi series is kind of more or less dead because Alpha Dream has kind of gone away. They're no longer existing, so it's hard to do that, I think, series in general. Paper Mario, Intelligent Systems made the latest one, Origami King, and it's definitely not similar to what is in the older Paper Mario games, the 64 one and Thousand Year Door. And so if they do make a new Paper Mario game, I think it's still going to be in line with that. I don't think it's going to be much different. I'm curious, do we know who's remastering the Paper Mario Thousand
I don't
Year
think
Door?
they told us.
I'm
gonna quickly Google it while you keep talking.
Because if we know who that is, like who group of that, if it is Intelligent Systems, that would be interesting. See if they want to grab some, elements from that. But yeah, I know Origami King, their other Paper Mario game, was pretty split, pretty divisive. I didn't care for it, but I know a lot of people did like it. So I just think they're just going to continue with the Paper Mario games.
Yeah. So first off, Intelligent Systems made the original, but there is no word on who the developer is. The statement from Nintendo is you'll find out in the credits. Kind of like with Mario Wonder was the same thing. So yeah, I think we'll find out when the game gets released. Maybe it actually ends up being Intelligent Systems after all, and they just don't want to tell us. But
yeah,
because I just don't think that they put too much stock in that, so they don't usually like to go out there and say it ahead of time who develops their games. So
yeah, for the most part, for sure.
Yeah, so I actually really agree with you, where I think Paper Mario will continue in the direction that Paper Mario is currently in, where it won't be role-playing games. It'll be
whatever.
Either a new, because they do a new gimmick every time.
Yeah,
and that really affects the gameplay depending on what the gimmick is. So I think they're going to continue doing that with the new Paper Mario games. But I think if they're going to do a Mario role-playing game, I don't think they go back to Mario and Luigi either.
No.
To your point about Alpha Dream being gone, I think they just do like a new line of Mario RPGs that aren't tied to any of the old Mario RPGs at all. So like not tied to, Super Mario RPG, not going to have Geno and Mallow in the new one. It's going to have new characters. It's going to be its own thing. That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. No, I could see that too. I guess they, with the recent remakes, Mario RPG and then now Thousand Year Door, I guess they're trying to attract some of that attention, see how many people would go cling to that. And so, yeah, we should probably make a new Mario RPG game. That would be kind of cool. And I would definitely like to see, it'd be kind of crazy to have not a mainline Mario game, but in the 3D Mario asset as the new Mario, it's going to be in an RPG in some kind. That would be kind of cool to see. Actually,
exactly. Like maybe using some of like the Mario Wonder power-ups and stuff if it was like close enough released into Mario Wonder, if that was the newest game, or whatever, Odyssey 2 or whatever the next 3D Mario game is going to be.
Right.
Like, yeah, that'd be really interesting. So cool. Yeah. Either way, I'm very hopeful for the future of Mario RPGs of some kind. Like I think, we were a little dim and gloom when we did our Mario RPG episode, Garrett, but like now I think the tides are turning a bit where I think there will be a new Mario RPG beyond this. That's not a re-release. Yeah. So, all right, last question. It's actually a question just for me, Garrett, but you feel free to answer this, I guess, if you want.
Sure.
This comes to us from Naga Chaka, who says, question for Ryan. How does it feel zooming by me when it comes to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? So, Garrett, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth update. I'm almost done the game. I'm in chapter 13
congrats.
of 14. I am like halfway through that chapter 2, so I'm like barreling. The end is in sight. For
the
Final
Innocent
Fantasy
Side.
VII
Nice.
Rebirth.
Cool.
Because I talked about it on the PlayStation Drive, but I was not feeling like 40 hours in, Garrett. I was like, all right, I'm kind of done with all the extra side stuff.
I get it.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So like, I kind of want to go off the Viren path and kind of focus on the story since I'm really enjoying the story a lot. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Whereas Nagachaka, since he's going for the platinum, he's 100%ing the game, and then he has to play through the game on hard mode. So that's the reason why it's just taking him a lot longer to get there. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I think I'm gonna have it wrapped this week. That's kind of the plan because I have other games I want to play before Dawn Trail comes out at the end of June.
And then you're done.
Because I know, Garrett, at least for that month, the month of July and the month of August, like that's gonna be Final Fantasy 14 time. So
I get it.
There's not gonna be time for other games. So I need to make sure like the window is open. There's a window for me to play other games. Maybe I play that Unicorn Overlord again. So Kevin Ainsworth and
You
I
got to
can have
finish
a
that
discussion
out,
about it.
man.
Maybe. But so that's the idea. I want to play some other games, and I'm really enjoying the story too. So that's why I kind of want to see how it goes, how it ends. But,
Yeah. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for Nagachaka playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm happy for me not currently playing it. I hear it's a long game.
It is a long game. I mean, I'm 42 hours in at this point, Garret, and I'm near the end of the game. But that's with I think if you mainlined it like Kevin did, you could probably beat it in 25 to 30 hours.
That's not bad at all.
No. And it's just a really long game if you want to do all the extra stuff, all the side stuff, all the stuff in the open world, because that's 80 hours worth of stuff to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's a lot.
Cool.
There's, oh my God, Garret, there are so many mini games. Too many
That's
mini
what I
games.
hear.
There's 50 mini games in this game. It feels like Mario Party at times with as many mini games as there are.
That's kind of crazy, but cool, man.
Now, Garret,
Yeah.
if we'll allow it, Captain Awesome 915 has a question in the chat that they would like addressed. So, Captain Awesome 915 in the chat says, I have a quick question. Are games like Octopath and Triangle Strategy at risk with all of the Square Enix announcements? So, of course, Square Enix did come out and announce that and say, hey, just so y'all know, we're going to be focusing on our core franchises now. We're going to be multi-platform, so we're going to be doing less of the smaller franchises now. To which I would say, Captain Awesome, I think the games that are currently in development that they've announced, like Dragon Quest III HD, as an example, I think that still comes out.
Yeah.
But I do think future games in this style that aren't based off huge franchises are not going to be a thing anymore from Square, unfortunately. But I'm curious to know what you think, Garret.
Yeah, this is a hard one because it's hard to kind of predict what they mean by that, like small games or big games or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just think the two games that you thrown out there, it's really from one business unit, one business division. It's Acquire.
Right.
And business unit division. I think it's 11 or something like that.
I was gonna say they have weird names, and they just renamed it recently.
They just renamed them, which is dumb, but whatever. Octopath. So Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy. Yes, I think they're at risk just because I think they're just not getting as much sales as they would expect in what they're putting in.
Yeah.
That's my line of thinking now. I don't know. I'm not reading Square Enix financials to figure that out.
I was gonna say we don't know the actual development costs of these games versus what they actually made back, right? I think that plays a little bit into it because I think they are definitely cheaper to develop than a lot of the big Square Enix games. But how much did they even make back even the small costs that they cost to make some of them? I know that Octopath 2 was a $1 million seller as an example. So
which is nice.
Yeah, so I do think that that's above what they expected for that game as an example.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think they want to keep that going in some form or fashion. They love the 2D. I think they have a good kind of cadence going with the 2D HD art style. The classic turn-based game art style. So yeah, I would say I wouldn't say they're going away, much at all, but they're at risk.
I think they're gonna. I think they might even change, because I think
they might change. Yeah,
I think what might end up happening, Garret, is that, and this is something I've actually talked about for a while now, is well, what if they did a 2D HD game that was a brand new Final Fantasy game? What if they did that almost like a Final Fantasy spinoff? Mm-hmm. And so instead of doing something maybe like a Triangle Strategy or an Octopath Traveler, maybe they do a Final Fantasy Tactics in that style. Maybe they do a Final Fantasy game that is telling a similar story to Octopath, but it just is labeled Final Fantasy instead of Octopath. I think maybe that's the direction they go in instead of that. But yeah, that's all speculation because again, I think these games in particular, Octopath, maybe not Triangle Strategy as much, because I felt like Triangle Strategy maybe was meant to kind of be a one-off for them. I'm
definitely
maybe not expecting them to do a sequel to that, but I think the bigger, they're not nearly as much of a risk as another Star Ocean game or another Valkyrie Profile game or another game in
Harvestella,
the Force, or another game in the Various Day Life, franchise, or even the Bravely franchise, Garrett. I don't think they make another.
Oh, Bravely Default
game.
did. I hear too. It didn't do that well.
No.
So it's very hard to see that coming back.
Yeah. I feel like those are like the franchises they're kind of referring to in that, like the ones that are almost like they're like kind of middle tier franchises in a lot of ways. Because also I think Live Alive also did really well too. So like, I suspect that the 2D HD games they're going to want to continue doing. It just might not be in Octopath or Triangle Strategy franchises, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then there's what was it? Oh man, what are they called? The people who did Lost Sphere. And,
Tokyo RPG Factory.
Yeah, Tokyo RPG
they're gone.
Factory. They're gone. Yeah, for sure.
No, we're not getting any more of those. Like both their games bombed, and they were never going to make another game for Square.
Yeah, which is rough. But.
No, that's kind of what like Acquire kind of like shifted into like that.
That's true. Yeah,
like they kind of took over the job from Tokyo RPG Factory in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So there you go. I think you'll have HD2D art games of some kind from Square Enix. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised though, even though I don't think there'll be another Triangle Strategy game. Like, I think that maybe when they do like a Final Fantasy Tactics, like that's how they'll do it, is in HD2D.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
And that'll kind of be like the follow up to Triangle Strategy. But, anyways, Garrett, I think we're gonna get out of here.
Cool.
But before we go, let's thank all of our patrons over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, starting with our ultimate producers, Jonathan Brown, the man behind the music on the Xbox Drive and the PlayStation Drive. You can find the link tree to all of his music over at Purple Monkey Entertainment, linktr.ee/pme/jib. And Cwagmire, who humbly reminds you that the best babes are in fact Xenobabes. Again, links to all of our ultimate producers can always be found in the description of our podcasts. Our platinum producers are Robby, Bobby Miller, Tim Paullin, and Smokin Joe. And our gold members, Adam K, Anna, Awesome Dave 1337, BobLoblaw, Brad Moore, Brian Reese, Cecily Carrozza, CowboyDangerD, CrocoKyle, Dan and Luma, Dannohh, Emily O'Kelly, Hoppel, Jan32, Patrice Mallette, Peje EP, Shane Erickson, Tech Mike, Tim Aulph, and Toxic. Huge thank you once again to all of our friends over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. If you want to hop in the car with us, head on over there and choose the tier that's right for you. Well, now, Garrett, plugs go.
You can follow me at Twitter, at Blaine Explosion. Yes, I'll keep calling it Twitter. I won't say the other word. And you can also find me on the Discord. I read every single message on the RPG Cave channel. Believe it or not, I'm reading them. I may not respond because I have no idea if I should respond to it, but I am reading them, and I am among the stars,
I mean, sometimes you just see the Ron and someone else go back and forth in a conversation for like 12 or 15 messages, and you're like, I'm not going to respond to that.
Yeah, no. It's just a bunch of GIFs left. It really devolves to GIFs.
That is kind of how that works. Him and Quaggy, they love the GIFs, Garrett.
They do it. I love it. So there you go.
Yep. As for me, you can find me on the old Twitter, aka X, at Carpool Gaming. Yes, I'm not a coward, Garrett. I'll say X. You'll also find us on X at Carpool Gaming, right here at youtube.com/Carpool Gaming. Of course, podcast services around the globe. So for Garrett Bland, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been the 138th level of the RPG Cave. Garrett, only 12 more episodes until level 150.
Dang.
And we're out. Good night, everybody.